Has feminism ruined you? The reason why I'm asking this question is because most American women are under the assumption that feminism is the same as women's rights, and they are not. Women's rights is okay. If me and a woman has the same education and uh, the same job qualifications, if she, let's just say she worked for a company that's very close to the company with the job that I'm applying for, and they say, well, we need to go with her because her company is similar to ours, and where he works isn't. His job is related to the job, but the company does something totally different in another industry. Then the job should go to you, the woman. I have no problem with that. Also, women's rights is the right to be treated fairly in the criminal justice system, being receiving respect for privacy. Obviously, I can go on, but you got the idea. And what a lot of women get confused, and they let me tell you something. The feminists purposely did it that way. Feminism is not based in anything. There's no scientific basis. It's an inorganic social construct that was created initially to thwart the civil rights movement. But it was also, but also, it was created to unfairly give women a leg up. Feminism is not about women's rights. It's about female domination. It's about women being put in a position where they're lord and master over men. And that's where I think a lot of that entitlement comes from with a lot of women. They feel entitled to our money, to our business, to spaces that are not for women. And we're expected to sit here and take it, and if we don't, we're misogynists. See, ladies, with all the name calling and the phony outrage and all this kind of stuff, ladies, this contributes nationwide to you not being able to be wifed up by somebody, especially during your 30s, 40s, and 50s, when it's well known that women's bodies fall apart during that time. And you no longer have that girlish hourglass figure. You no longer have that Coke bottle figure. That's what we used to call it. Your estrogen level goes down, and male testosterone goes up. So now you get them rounded shoulders and flabby, fat body, and then a lot of women cut their hair off when they get older because it's a lot less to manage. And but the thing is, if you're already showing the characteristics of somebody that's losing estrogen, your voice is getting deeper compared to where it was 10, 15 years, 20 years ago. It's going to be hard for you to try to find somebody when you look like that. And I'm not trying to be nasty here. I'm just being honest. If you're a woman that already, your looks is already in question, then you might want to be as nice as possible to these men. Cause that you ain't gonna get a top flight man, you ain't gonna get a top shelf man, but you can probably get, some old broke dude Hopefully he won't have a drinking problem or a drug problem or both. But feminism has nothing to do with women's rights. I support women's rights. As a father, as a business owner, I support women's rights. I grew up in the home with a mother and father, but my mother was very strong. Okay? And that's why women like that don't intimidate me. You don't intimidate me. It takes, you're going to need some bombs and some guns to intimidate me. And even then, I probably won't even be intimidated. Okay? But I support women's rights. I support you guys getting whatever is owed to you or what you deserve or what you apply for. I want you to have it. I have no problem with that. So if you're thinking about putting me in the misogynistic bag or bucket, you might want to change your tune, because misogynists don't talk like that. Anyway, feminism has led women astray. You're out here just trying to do everything men do. That's the first thing I want to tackle. Ladies, you cannot do what we do, just like we can't do what you do. Okay? Men are biologically designed to go out here, be fruitful, and multiply. We ain't talking about marriage, legal marriage. We ain't talking about none of that crap, because that's man-made. That's social construct. God didn't come up with marriage and all this standing in the church promising. Who you promising? God ain't in that damn church. Who you promising? The other person? You can't make promises like that. When human beings try to make promises, especially before they even know who they are as a man or a woman, you're gonna run into some serious problems trying to make this work out here in American society. You can't go out there and sleep with as many men as we do women, because emotionally, the way the biochemistry of your brain is different from ours. We're built for war. We're built for being a warrior, protecting. That's why we have more muscle than you do. But a lot of you make the mistake of equating feminism with women's rights, and it throws everything off, because you start walking around thinking you're entitled to a man's money, his retirement. You don't have access. You're supposed to have access to somebody's money, and we were just, dating. That's nonsense. But we make the mistake. Well, I should say women make the mistake today that they can go out here and sleep with 100 bodies, and it did not bother them. Well, like I said, with your brain chemistry, the way your biochemistry works in your brain, you're not look, there's a reason why in sexual intercourse a man is his sex organ is external, and a woman's sex organ is internal. That's why when you go to the hardware store, they ask you, well, I need this little screw right here. But I need the I need a female. Oh, and then they're like, oh, well, you need a female nut there. You need a nut where the external grooves, treads go into, go into the nut, and you can tighten it up. Same principle. Okay. And because we have external sex organs, again, where our biochemistry is totally different than yours. Ours is biological. If we don't have sex in a certain amount of time, there can be problems. And there are cases where if a man does not, where there have been men who've been backed up and it has caused problems with their testicles, you know, man, cancers and stuff like that. So when y'all sit up here and say, well, men just want sex all the time, that's why. Have you ever taken the time to learn this? Especially those of you who have sons at home, minor sons. Just writing men off, just saying, oh, well, y'all just want to do this, that, and the third. When you haven't even done any research. You haven't done your homework on us. Which is why most women today don't understand men at all. You think we're simple and dumb until you deal with a man who isn't. Now y'all mad because you can't run game on him like you can them simps and tricks. And so while you sitting here blaming and see this is where the basis of women blaming men for stuff. Okay, blaming men when some of this stuff is your fault. Your life is your life. My life is my life. I'm in control of my life. You ain't in control of my life as much as you want to be. You're not. And for women to sit here and try to put this stuff into play, it says a lot about your character, man. It says a lot about you as a person, not even as a woman, as a person. No man wants to be dominated by a woman. And the ones that refuse and they give you pushback, you might want to leave those guys alone because you ain't gonna make them do anything they don't want to do. See, here's the thing. Here's where a lot of y'all got in trouble. You were able to control the behavior of some of these simps you used to mess around with. And so when you look at that, you say, oh, well, all these men are dummies then. I can tell all these men what to do. And I hear women talking on social media, talking about, oh, I can run game on these men and this, that, and the third. And, it's no big deal if I got 100 bodies. It's a big deal. Anything over single digit numbers is a high body count and a body count that's too high for a successful man to deal with. I don't deal with women who've been up under a whole bunch of men. I can tell. I ain't got to ask you how many bodies you got. All I got to do is look. All I got to do is ask some off the cuff questions, and you're not even gonna know that I'm picking your head. I'm picking your brain. I'm inside your head. And I'm trying to find out stuff. And little stuff you say lets a man know, hey, this woman she been holding herself out. And so the feminists have taught you that you go out here and screw all these men. You go out here and have all this little nasty, funky, fun effing out here on these streets with these dudes, and there not be no residual negativity coming from that. Well, it will. See, if I sleep with 10 women, it ain't no big deal. My feelings ain't hurt. I don't feel no kind of way other than tired. You sleep with 10 dudes and it changes your brain chemistry. Let me show you how that works. You can look this up online if you want to, because I always encourage people to check behind me. Don't just take my word for anything. You go and check behind me. Okay? Now, what happens when a man has sexual intercourse with a woman, usually there's an ejaculation of semen and sperm into the woman's vaginal cavity. Now, keep this clinical. Now, whether he does that or not, his DNA, whether it's from his sweat, from around the area around the condom, all that, he's still getting his DNA on you. And what happens that when that DNA gets inside of you, it goes into the walls of your vagina. And where do you think it goes then? It goes into your bloodstream. And where does that blood go? Right up here. That's why there's so many women out here who are crazy, literally clinically crazy, because they done went out here and tried to do what men do. And you weren't designed to do that. Now, does that make you less of a human being than us? No, it just makes you different. When a woman goes and has a whole bunch of bodies, it messes up her brain chemistry. And now she can't, and that's why a lot of you, it's so easy for you to sleep with 5 or 6 men at the same time, or 2 to 3. The average woman today is having sex with at least 2 to 3 different dudes. It's called a rotation. I know because I had women on my rotation back in the day. You digs? Anyway, when 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 a man, when a woman see that they having, it's like trying to remember information from 30 years ago. And you're frustrated because you can't remember you can remember some of it, but you can't remember all of it. And it's frustrating you and making you angry. That's the same thing it happens when you try to connect emotionally with a man. You refuse. You kind of buck against it because your biochemistry is telling you that this is not good for you. This is not good activity for you to be out here having sex with different men. Anything above single digits is too many men. Even high single digits is too many men. You shouldn't have all them damn bodies, man. You know what is also an indicator that women can't sleep with a bunch of dudes? These women in porn. You ain't even gotta go research too far and too long before you find uh lists of women, young women, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, who have purposely killed themselves because they can't reconcile all those penises that she done had in her hand and in her brain. And a lot of times with a lot of these young women, they just go out here on an impulse and do this stuff, not realizing that the internet is forever and that, this is not a good thing for you to get into. You got way more talent than that, and you're selling yourself short. I mean, we talking about tens, maybe even over 100 women who have either died from suicide or accidental suicides, overdoses, stuff like that. A lot of women have drank themselves to death. A lot of women caught the HIV. So when these women lose their mind, they lose their mind because now they're like, now that they want to, after they done all this having sex with all these dudes, now they're sitting back saying, "Oh, this is not a good thing for me." Now I want to get a man to wife me up. And you're like, "Well, where's the guys that want me?" Well, the only men who gonna want you are beta male simps. Cause they know I'm not gonna date no porn, no ex porn star. I mean, I ain't gonna kick one out of bed, but I ain't gonna look for one. Okay. And I know that area out there in California very well. As a matter of fact, a girl that I used to go to high school with uh, started doing porno after we graduated from high school. Okay, but that's fine. Some Mexican chick, you know. But men, look, have men off themselves too doing porn? Yeah, because there's something wrong. But see, that how they feel is a symptom. That's not the root cause. The root cause is something, maybe these guys have been traumatized as a child, and so they don't really care about themselves. They've been essayed. Uh, they've been beaten. I mean, we know that 98% of the people in porn have been abused in some kind of way, if not in multiple ways. Okay? And so what I'm getting at, ladies, is while you can say, while you can say, I should be able to do whatever I want to do. Yes, you can. It's your life. It's your life to build or ruin. Okay? I don't care one way or the other. But what you have to understand is that you got to stop with these whataboutisms. Well, what about the men that killed themselves that did porn? And again, and again, those men have something wrong with them. There's some root cause of them getting into porn because every man in America ain't in porn or on OF. So we know that. And the thing is, ladies, you know, you can't run the religion on this because the King James Bible, all especially in the Old Testament, talks about a woman, how a woman is supposed to be, and that a woman's nature is evil, which is why a lot of women don't like the Old Testament because it's old pimp shit and on that side. They love to stay over on, the New Testament side, but there's game on that side too, especially in Revelations. But you can't sit up there and offer yourself up like that and be sane. You can't connect emotionally with a man. That's why every time you see one of these porn stars get married, they might be married 6 months and they divorced because even that simp can't hang after a while because some of these women still dibble and dab in porn, or they just do OF, or they do cam, they do cam work. So these women, and look, women, you can do whatever you want to do to make money. I get your money, get your money, okay. But my caution to you is that you ain't built like us, and we ain't built like you, and we neither one of us should be trying to be the other. I don't want to be a woman. I want to stay a man and do man stuff. this feminism thing, ladies, contributes to your ideology that men owe you something, and that men better spend their money on you or else. I wonder how you can like talk that kind of smack when you 35 years old and you hit the wall and your estrogen levels have gone down and your testosterone or that other male uh, hormone goes up, and you start having a deep voice like Froggy on, like you Froggy on Little Rascals. Some women, they voice is real feminine in their 20s and 30s, and they get in their 40s and 50s, and they sound like Froggy. Okay. And yeah, there could be some other contributing factors like smoking and stuff like that. But the thing is, ladies, y'all don't talk to men, which you should be. If you don't want to talk to a man that's outside your family, that's one thing. But you got uncles, you got cousins. Some of you have brothers that you can talk to. Find the ones that are mature and talk to them and say, "Hey, man, I keep having these problems with these dudes. I can't connect with these dudes." Well, he might not ask you, but I would. I would. How many bodies you got on you? What that got to do, and it has everything to do with it. Because you cannot connect with somebody when you think about a penis. You think instead of it being a penis of a dude that you was in love with, you can't think of one penis. You thinking about all of them, and that's going to confuse you. That's going to throw you off. And let's just be honest, ladies. Mentally, y'all ain't as tough as we are. We could take a whole lot more pain than you. And we can deal with, you might probably be better. Well, you might not necessarily better at emotional issues, but what makes it look like you are is because you guys usually have another woman to talk to, whether it be a cousin, mom, auntie, or whatever. Ladies, you can have a man. If you don't have one, it's your fault. It ain't the men's fault. It's your fault. And if you take responsibility, if you've been having problems with men, I guarantee it will change your life. But you're cheating yourself when you go out here and have sex with all these men from 14 to 25, 26, or until you get pregnant out of wedlock or something like that. Now you sitting up here a single mom. And we know right now single moms ain't faring too well in America. We're going to talk about that also. But feminism has ruined dating. It's real, and ladies, it's ruined chivalry, and it's because feminism killed it. And men, I don't know what kind of men some of y'all used to. A lot of y'all used to men you can punk. You don't like men like me who gonna give you some pushback or tell you to your face what time it is, because I ain't looking. I don't see every woman as a sexual conquest like simps do, beta males do. And all I'm saying is that if you are struggling with getting quality men, then there's something you're gonna have to do better. I suggest you contact me and book a session, because I'm gonna tell you right now, some of y'all need a lot of help, and you can only get that help from a man, not from another woman. Women can't help give you a man's perspective. And I'm being objective here. Excuse me. I don't have a dog in this fight. But anyway, Be on the lookout for our next lesson, Love Lessons Radio, on Sunday. I should have that video uploaded. So come check us out on my channel. You can email me at theiceman show@yahoo.com and contact. I took my website down, and I'm looking for vendors to upload my website to another vendor. So be on the lookout for that. But appreciate it. Y'all take care, and you can do this.